Hello, everyone. My name is Narayanan, and I'm the CEO of Avaz. And in today's video, we'll be talking about the new features of Avaz. And also, I want to give you some background about our thought process as to how we design this vocabulary layout and the different features of the app. So I'll get started with something that is very unique to Avaz, and which is the tones. So we've never really heard an AAC user sound angry or sound excited or sarcastic. We've always given them the ability to speak, but there's no intonation, there is no expression in what the voice outputs sound like. So that was something that we wanted to kind of like fix because we believe that emotion and tones are a key part of communication. So now if you look at ours, and I can start by creating a sentence saying,
You
you
stop
stop
that
that
now.
now. So most AAC systems will sound like this.
Can you stop that now?
That doesn't seem angry. But if I were to tap on this tone button and tap angry and then speak it out,
Can you stop that now?
see, that's the difference. So there is that intonation, there is that expression of anger that the communicator is able to do. Or like my favorite, if I go to the keyboard, which is always one touch away, and let's say I'm gonna change it to sarcastic and say,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, right.
right? So how
Yeah, right.
it speaks out sarcastically. So imagine teenagers using this, or even like, for example, one of the parents on our Facebook user group commented how her 5-year-old loves to use the vocabulary with a lot of excited tones. The idea here being that how do we get AAC users also feel ownership about their AAC system? How do we make them feel also excited to use and express something that they're seeing their peers also use? And now, now I'll get into the vocabulary layout of Avaz itself. So let me just move this to a normal chat tone and not speak everything sarcastically. Um, I'll start off with the feelings folder. On the bottom, you'll see there's a feelings folder. And what you see here is that we've kind of grouped the different kinds of feelings in different zones of the app. So you have happy, anxious feelings in one side, you have angry, sad feelings, you have a lot of nuance to the vocabulary as well. So someone can say hungry,
Hungry,
but also say starving.
starving,
So you're not only limited to thirsty, but also you have the ability to communicate parched. You have we talk about hard feelings like FOMO, restless, zoned out. All of those are available in this new vocabulary of ours, which we call the step up vocabulary. And the idea here is that the communicator should be able to express different kinds of feelings, right? So, and then there are qualifiers also available on this page set. So, for example, I can say, let's say I'm going to make this a little sad and say
Very
and then I can use this.
embarrassed.
So I can use a GIF in Avaz to express my feelings as well. I can use GIFs for other things. But this is an example where there are GIFs in the feelings folder to communicate and express themselves. So again, you look at it, the idea here is that how do we get the AAC user to feel connected to their AAC system so that they can communicate more and they can start feeling kind of like close to this AAC system and they get to start communicating more. Now, I'll go to the self-regulation folder here. And that's another interesting folder that we got a lot of feedback on. We got advice from folks like Kate Ahern on how to structure this. So you'll see that in this folder, it's kind of again grouped into 3 zones. So helping the communicator identify why they're feeling something. So I'm feeling this because I'm hungry, I'm sick, it's too much of instructions. So helping them identify why they are feeling this. And then giving them options. Maybe I should do this, maybe I should do this. And then the third zone of like, as a communication partner, what can I offer? What can I offer? So there's a lot of thought put behind all of these page sets, and especially the feelings one is something that we've kind of like really worked hard and thought about how to give the kind of power of the communication, power to the communication, to the communicator, sorry. Let's just go back, and I want to show you something more interesting here. Now, if I go to the angry feelings folder, and you'll see again, it has like, I feel angry. When I feel angry, I feel hot. I kind of clench my fist. All of those are there. And then you have the self-regulation folder here. And tap on this, you'll see that it's the same self-regulation folder, but it is predicting only those self-regulation related items when the user is angry, when the AAC user is angry. So what we have done is basically we have already out of the box, Avaz has masked the vocabulary for you. So if I go to menu and show you real quick, it's the same self-regulation folder, but we've just hidden all those words that are not relevant to angry feelings and angry, like self-regulation during when someone is feeling angry. And so that's kind of like an important aspect here. So you can set up custom views for your linked folders, and I'll get into detail in just about a bit as to how you can set that up. So I'll go back to the feelings folder, and kind of this is where I want to wrap up with respect to the feelings folder. What we really want to do is kind of engineer that moment of connection as well, right? So so that the AAC user can use Avaz, in fact, I would say any AAC system to build that connection, right? That's the goal of communication. And if you notice, there is a quick folder at the bottom row, and if I tap on quick, you'll see it has a lot of functional communication phrases, things like I need help, to saying that that's awesome, all of that. My favorite folder here is the me. And when I tap on this, you have different, so we've given examples of what are the different options people can program, what kind of phrases and words people can program. You have my supports, and say you can say something like, I can be a little angry and say,
I need my ear defenders.
Right, so there are my supports. And then I have things like my affirmations. So I can be excited and say,
I am a badass.
Right? So again, our job as vocabulary designers, as app designers, is not to block off vocabulary, right? So we want to offer as much vocabulary, as much age-appropriate vocabulary as possible. The idea is to help the communicator use what they want, kind of coach them and tell them when to use something, when to use kind of certain words. The idea and when to use certain phrases. We want to advocate for the AAC user being able to communicate what they want to say when they want to say it. As parents, speech therapists, teachers, we can help them, we can coach them as to what is a good time and place or context to use certain things. And if you look at this, so we started with the tones, we went to the feelings and showed kind of like the different feelings that Avaz has, words that Avaz has to offer. And then we came back to looking at things like my affirmation, about myself. The idea here, the core idea here in designing these features, this vocabulary as well, is to ensure that an AAC user feels connected to the AAC system and is able to start using it more effectively. Now, once you have someone who is engaged with their AAC system, then you can look at like different ways in which Avaz can support the language development itself. And so I'll start off with like a specific example here. Now, a lot of our AAC users, we know, love like kind of like talking about a particular topic of interest. And what we saw in a lot of AAC systems was that when a user is trying to communicate or talk about their particular topic of interest, what often happens is that they have to continuously navigate quite a bit, which leaves them which kind of leaves them half-hearted in that communication activity itself, or that entire communication context itself, because there's too much of navigation that they have to do back and forth. That is something that we wanted to solve with the step-up vocabulary in Avaz. And so the way we do it is that if you look at, I'll give you an example where, let's take the example of a student or an AAC user who's really interested in vehicles and transport. So I go to the transport folder, for example. And so this is the grid size here is set to about 77 words. You can move up or down as well. The idea here is that look at the richness of the vocabulary. You have words like Uber, Lyft, as well as sidewalk, curb. So you have the entire spread of fringe vocabulary here. Now, with respect to the core vocabulary, and suppose you want the communicator to kind of like talk about something, you want to kind of engage in a conversation around vehicles and transport, you will see that the bottom row, what we call the frozen row, follows you everywhere in the app. So it's here down below. And when I tap on actions, you'll see that Avaz already predicts the specific set of action words that are related to transport or vehicles, right? So I have things like go, stop, come, wait. Um, and again, you'll see on the top, the breadcrumb says home, transport, actions. Or for example, if I go to describe, you'll see the describe folder here under transport is automatically predicting the fact that these are the words, these are the descriptive words that can be used while talking about vehicles and transport. Or if I go to speed, and you'll see that it has words like inching along, crawling to blazing, zoomy, all of that available. The core idea here is that if I have an AAC user who's really interested in a particular topic, we don't want them to navigate. We want them to quickly, effectively communicate. And so the bottom row of bottom frozen row of access to quick access to like core vocabulary, action words, descriptors, people, feelings, all of that is always available. And you'll see that if I go back to home and I go to actions, this is the entire set of action words available, right? So there are action words available. All the action words are available. And so if I now even go back to the transport folder, or even like say the clothes folder, and you'll see the descriptors are kind of like contextually predicting only those set of descriptor words specific to clothes. And you can set this up yourself as well. So now let's say we'll go to the topics folder, and Avaz has a huge range of topic folders that we've pre-programmed. You have things like my stories, where we're talking about safe, unsafe touch. We're talking about getting a haircut. You'll see that, again, you can increase the button sizes of Avaz there, and the frozen row follows you everywhere. So you always have access to core vocabulary. This is, again, something I wanted to highlight, is that we saw that a lot of adults, when they're modeling, they think in grid-based vocabulary systems, right? Category-based, right? So I can say, oh, where do I find this word? Oh, it will be in action words or descriptors. So it's easy for adults to model. At the same time, we are not at all sacrificing the motor planning for the AAC user. All the words, let's be the action words or the descriptor words, all of them are in the same place. So they have kind of like the motor planning as well to find a particular word. So if they want to find the word fast, it's going to be in the same place in every folder. So that's kind of like an important thing to keep in mind. So we were trying to do this. What we want to do is achieve this balance between helping the AAC user not having to learn new motor patterns, and at the same time offer the communication partner who's modeling an easy way to model. Because as we know, the more they model, the better for the communicator. Now, if I go back to topics, and something I wanted to show you here is, let's take the example of monster truck rallies, and someone who's really interested in monster truck rallies. And if I go to actions under monster truck rallies, it has all the words, action words set up here, right? So maybe I want to focus on only a certain set of words, and so that we don't kind of have too much of cognitive overload to begin with, I can go to menu, and I go to edit, and I'm just going to select all, and I'm going to only keep those words that are relevant, action words relevant for monster truck rally. So it could be stop, go, win, lose, let's say play, feel like, and I'm going to say hurt because someone fell, and and love, and I'm going to hide all of the others. So here it pops up whether you want to hide all the words only in this location or all locations. So the idea here is that Avaz gives you that fine-tuned control on taking a linked folder and creating a custom view for that linked folder, so it doesn't kind of impact all other folders linked to it, right? So I'm going to say only apply these changes here. I'm going to tap on done. Now you'll see that these are the action words that we'll focus on to begin with. And then go back. Now, if I go to Monster Truck Rallies and tap on action words, you'll see that it shows only these set of words for. Now, I want to quickly show you the kind of like the other breadth of things that you can do with Avaz. So we talked about how the frozen row is something which is very key to Avaz and gives access to the core vocabulary to the AAC user. One of the other kind of examples to this is that if I go to menu and I'm going to change this to a larger grid size. So we have support for grid sizes now up to 117. So I'm going to just move to a 96 grid size. And this one specifically is something that my colleague Kirtana, who's the brains behind this vocabulary, designed kind of like, she's given me an example to use because that is something her daughter, who is an Avaz user and a Gestalt language processor as well, uses. So in this, you'll see on the bottom row, the frozen row, there is a My Gestalts folder that has gotten added. Now, if I go to the food folder and tap on My Gestalts, the way Kirtana has set it up for her daughter is that she gets these Gestalts which are specific to food time. So she has this one going for her.
Now I will get some food. Now I'm gonna eat. Feed me, feed me, feed me.
And so you'll see here that the YouTube video pops up, plays, stops, and goes back in. So there is no weird ads or recommendation. It just plays that snippet and goes back in. And that's kind of another very powerful feature in Avaz, wherein you can program YouTube videos to show only those particular snippets and kind of have those in your app. Again, you can choose to use it or not use it depending on the communicator. Now, I'll go back home and show you there are other My Gestalts that she has programmed for her daughter. This is an example where I can
When
do a
you
jump
feel
to page.
so mad.
This is an example I wanted to show you where you can also look at how to kind of like break down that gestalt as well, right? So When You Feel So Mad is a Daniel Tiger song, and then you can break it down to saying I can count to 4 and I can kind of, how do I feel? What can I do when I'm angry? And at the same time, you'll notice that the frozen row is still following you. And so you have access to the core vocabulary as well. So if you're not, so while you can see these YouTube videos and kind of like listen to those snippets, you also have access to your core vocabulary to talk about it, to communicate as a speech therapist or a teacher. You can model those as well for the student. Now, I'll quickly show you how to add a YouTube video. Let's say I'll go back to My Gestalts. I'm going to, anytime you want to add any word in Avaz, you need to go to menu, edit words, and go to add new. I'm just going to add a word. Let's say Peppa, Peppa Pig. And so it pulls up an image automatically. So here's the nice thing with Avaz, right? So you can search for an image within the web, from the web within the app itself, right? So you don't have to go download the app, download images, upload it into the app. You don't have to do all of that. Everything is right within the app itself. So I can select an image from here. You can also search for GIFs here, right? So this is the other kind of really cool thing of Avaz is that you can search for GIFs within the app. And let's say this. And you can also set the loop count for the GIFs. So there are GIFs which kind of, they're blink and miss, right? So they immediately go off and you don't know what went. So you can increase the loop count for the GIF so that it zooms out with Avaz, it zooms out and then it plays for a fixed number of times and then zooms back in. So that's another option in the GIFs while programming GIFs. So I'm going to just right now stick to a web image, tap on done. And now what I can do is I can go to advanced, go to actions and choose an action saying play the YouTube video when I tap on this button. And let's say, I'm just going to say Peppa goes to school. And so it brings up, again, without leaving the app, you're doing all of this within the app. It brings up this video. You can tap on this, tap on save, and then it starts playing. So I can set a start time by tapping on the set start button. I can set a start time. So I can go through the video and fix where I want to start.
Mrs. C, do you work or do you play?
And I can set a end time. And so it will ensure that Avaz will ensure that this is the duration with which the video plays. And so I'm going to tap on save and tap on done. Now if I tap on Peppa Pig,
Mrs. C, do you work or do you?
so you notice here that this programming this is really straightforward. And what we really have thought about is that a lot of time is spent in programming words into the system, or YouTube videos into the system, or images into the system. All of that is technology's job. All of that should be the AAC system's job. So that is something that we really want to kind of ease out for speech therapists, for parents, for teachers. Programming should be something that the system can really make it easy for you, rather than you spending time adding a bunch of words, snipping YouTube videos and uploading it. All of that should be taken care by an AAC system. So that's kind of like what we are striving for here, and we have designed this entire system accordingly. So that's pretty much all you need to know in terms of how to program Avaz, adding YouTube videos, adding GIFs. You can kind of like set up a particular contextual view for that for the user as well, in terms of how you want to show the action words. So that's kind of like all the I think the unique features of Avaz and the new step up vocabulary that we have launched. There are a bunch of settings, and I'm just going to quickly highlight a couple of things. So one is you can take a backup and restore. So you can take a backup of your vocabulary and setting, take it on an iPad, move it onto an Android device, and it will reflect the same way. Take it on an iPad, move it to an iPhone, it will be the same. So vocabulary transition from any device across platforms is completely seamless. At the same time, you can airdrop it to another iPad. So you do any programming, you can airdrop it to another device. You can set up different profiles. You can create a backup for like a student Sarah, a student Amy. So you can set up different vocabulary backups as well. And you also have the option for accessibility. So touch accommodations is turned on here. For example, you'll see when I'm actually dragging my finger across the screen, and then I can when I lift it, it selects.
Go.
So you have touch accommodations also available. You also have the option for showing word forms. So if I go to picture grid, there's an option to show word forms. And so it will show the different kinds of word forms available as well. So I'll just quickly turn off touch accommodations for that to show. So I can say do.
Do.
Speaking out in an excited tone. So I can do, done, doing, will do. All of that is available. And again, wanted to show you that the keyboard is always one touch away. It has prediction with pictures, and it learns over time. It predicts. It continues to predict better and better as you use it. And it also predicts phonetically. So for example, if I type out the word ocean as OSHA, it brings out the word prediction ocean as well. Now, what I've really done in these last like around 20-25 minutes is to quickly run through some of the core features of Avaz and some of the unique differentiators. And also try to explain our thought process behind this, because a lot of our feature building comes from taking feedback from AAC users, experts, parents, and that is kind of like why we wanted to design this set of features. Why we also wanted to share our thinking behind why we have kind of like thought through this vocabulary layout. What are the kind of different features and why we have added it. And feel free to reach out to us for any questions, any thoughts, any comments. If you are an SLP who wants to use an evaluation version of Avaz, please reach out to us and drop us a note at support@avazapp.com or hello@avazapp.com, and we'll reach out to you with the next steps. Thank you again for your time. and look forward to hearing your feedback and thoughts. Thank you.